No dope on Sundays. That's only if you really out here getting money. No dope on Sundays. You know the trap back booming Monday, but no dope on Sundays. When you out here dirty, this the day you do the laundry. No dope on Sundays. But any other day is rain, sleep.
Yo, so we are back. It is Extra Mile Sauce Podcast, episode 2.
Episode 2.
All right.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, yep. All right, so to the right of me, we have my man A-Dub.
What up, world? Back at it.
To the left, we have Steph.
What's going on?
Still without a nickname.
No nickname required.
No nickname, Steph.
No nickname required.
Hit us up in the comments. Steph got to get a nickname. I
Right.
don't care what he say.
Right.
You got to give him something.
Right. Yeah, so, okay. And my name is Brandon. So we'll be jumping right in today. So just some of the things that we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about No Dope on Sundays, the Cyhi The Prince album that just recently dropped. Other things that we will be discussing today are going to be the refugees in Libya.
Definitely. Yeah.
So we know that that's really big, as well as Derrick Rose and his situation. So just
Oh,
being from
Derrick,
Chicago,
man.
I know.
Oh, Derrick.
I know, man. His mental space is real fragile right now, man. And then we'll get into also Trump and LeVar Ball and pretty much the free advertising that Trump gave.
We're going to talk about LeVar Ball every week.
Every week.
He keep
Every
finding
week,
his way
man.
into this podcast, don't he?
He's a
He going to have to
smart
cut
man.
us a piece of that check.
Oh, man. Big baller brand.
Yeah.
Gotta
Man.
love it.
Right.
Before we jump into it, how was everybody Thanksgiving and all that, man? Everybody enjoyed their holiday?
It was cool. Had a birthday.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Steph
Had a
had
birthday on Thanksgiving, you know, hang out with the family.
Steph turned 60.
That's why I don't have a nickname,
Steph
man.
turned
When you
60.
get a certain age,
He's
your
60
nickname
in
just
dog
big.
year. Yeah, he's
Big
60 in
old.
dog years. But hey, but you know you age like Angela Bassett.
I appreciate that, man. We gonna say pause.
All right.
But you know, I appreciate that.
Black don't crack. That's what they say, right?
Man, you
Yeah,
better
happy
believe
birthday
it.
to Steph, man.
Appreciate the love from my family. You know, the two fellas with me. You know, hit me up, told me happy birthday. You know, much appreciated.
No doubt.
Also happy belated to my sister. Hers was on Monday. I'm sorry, she listening. She gonna be mad, but hers was on Monday. So happy birthday to her as
Happy
well.
birthday.
Birthday, sis. Right.
Toss that in there.
That was in unison. They didn't
Right,
practice
right.
that.
That was harmonized.
Hey, that's
Light Skin
no,
Brothers
yeah.
Connection.
Shout out to the light skins. We done had a good 2-year run. Let's
Right.
keep
Yeah, y'all
Right.
taking over the league too.
Yeah, I know you see
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, man. Let's jump into it. No dope on Sundays.
All right. So, just a quick introduction. So, most people know Cyhi as a lot of people reference him as Kanye's ghostwriter.
True.
I think Cyhi's introduction to the world was My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, where he dropped some classic verses on that.
For sure.
Has definitely had a few classic team backpack freestyles. And then
Yes, for sure.
his Black History Project. So every February he puts out what he calls Black History Project, which is a mixtape series. So really not making any money off of it. But those are the things a lot of people know him from. Constant contributor to Ye and everything that goes down to good music. So this is his first studio album.
Long awaited.
Yes. I know I was one of the people like always asking where Cyhi's album was at. And it seemed like it came out of nowhere. So I was really excited. As we talk about that, let's kind of jump into what we initially just thought of the album. So what did you think as far as like tracks, standouts, things that just jumped out to you?
To me, the whole album was dope. If I have to pick a track, Free stands out, and New Africa, of course. On my Militant, But the
Which-
whole
yeah.
album, I mean, from start to finish, production, content, lyrics, you know, everything, the mixing, engineering, it was an A1 album, especially for your first project. Even though you've been out for a minute,
Right.
for this to be your debut, really, solid.
Yeah,
Solid.
I think everything just came together so well. I love the fact that you touched on the production, the lyrics. It just everything meshed so well. The main thing is if you followed Cyhi, or even if you haven't and just heard a little bit about him, Cyhi has always been a very bar heavy type guy.
Very, very
So
hard.
I knew the lyrics was gonna come. The production was super dope. But the thing that surprised me the most out of the album is it has really good songs.
Yeah.
It's like you got songs that's got radio play ability to them, you know? So the tracks that really stood out to me, No Dope on Sundays, the title track, which was very dope. Moving Around, which is a really good song. I mean, the bars is there, but the actual song I thought was dope. New Africa and 80s Baby. Those are probably my 4 favorite joints on the album, but mainly I just love the fact that everything just really aligned. It came together.
Yeah.
And it was a full-length album. I don't
Full-length.
like
Yep.
the 8, 10,
Right,
9,
right.
11 tracks. I don't like that. He gave us 15 good joints. I said this a couple weeks ago. I still believe it. This is the album of the year, in my opinion.
We don't go there yet. But as far as
He
like,
never want to go there when we talk about Cyhi.
I haven't even
being
said
album
I
of the year.
there.
So my initial thoughts. So I love when albums stick with the theme throughout. I think that was a big
Definitely.
thing for me.
Definitely.
So it was called No Dope on Sundays. The whole album, he's speaking to the dope boys, like the whole album, especially the young guys coming up that think that trapping is just a lifestyle, like that's all you live for.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things as far as like the album that I took away from it is really trying to educate the young brothers on what their next step should be once they start to stack some paper.
Get your money,
right,
and get out the game.
Right. So after you get your paper up, like what should your next steps be, right? So we need to invest in other things. I really think that he stepped off of 444. So Jay came out, and I know he's heavily influenced by Jay. Jay came out and really spoke to some of the same type of things, but I feel like he targeted the same message just directly to the dope boys.
Okay, I agree with that.
All right.
And so,
Because I was about to say step
I'm
off.
like-
Okay, but I see where you went with it. So,
He
yeah.
bend it back.
Yeah.
He bend it back.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
right.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
and I think that the message was necessary, right? Like I don't think but I feel like the message was necessary. Like I don't think that enough times as we talk about like hip hop or music in general, like we see trapping or drug use or things like that glorified consistently, but not what should your next step be. And especially with the lack of father figure in a lot of situations, a lot of people are looking for someone to kick that knowledge, and I think Cyhi did that. I also really liked the gospel components of this album, like so.
Absolutely.
Definitely, there's a heavy gospel influence within this album. The sampling. As well as even some of the hooks and things, if you're really listening to it, it has a gospel feel, or you can definitely tell.
And we kind of
it's
talked about
influenced.
that earlier before
Yeah.
we started recording.
Yeah.
I raised the question: why does every concept album that's good, evil, Bible, drug, it's always a great album? Always a great album. The parables that he had between both saying the scripture before then going into the track.
Right.
And it was so much relevance in the song and the scripture and how they flowed into each other. It definitely just brought out the track even more. I love the fact that he incorporated that into it, and the fact that for people who don't know, Cyhi grew up in the church. His father was a pastor.
Right.
Yep.
So that he's always been heavily influenced with the word of God. This is something that's not new to him, or that he's just putting on here for the album. This is something that this man has been living his whole life anyway.
Right.
And I love the fact that he found a way to incorporate that into this album while still making it his own, keeping it fresh. I top to
He
bottom, I
maneuvered
thought this
very
was
well.
dope.
Yeah.
Very well throughout.
Yeah, definitely. So, AW, you touched on it a little bit, production. So, when I think about like the production of the album, one thing I think I was looking for a lot more Kanye and big name producers.
Yeah.
It was a Lex Luger, a S1,
Right.
and it was pretty balanced. Like outside of that, it just was great beat selection for what he was doing. I don't think like the production was over the top, but I felt like he hit a pocket or a groove that this is fitting for what I'm trying to do.
It just complimented.
Yep.
Everything was complimentary to each other.
Yep.
It was a great piece of work.
Yeah, I think the other great thing about him is just his flow. He can adjust and maneuver so well in and out. If you remember on the actual track "No Dope on Sundays," there's a drastic change in beat.
For sure. Yeah.
And this man just pulled a whole nother flow out.
Yeah.
And went
That's what I
up.
was
on the
concerned
bridge.
with. That's
Yeah.
what I was concerned with. I was Brandon and I always talk about how J. Cole can fall into that rapidy rap.
Yeah.
I didn't know Cyhi if I was going to be that rap because we know him for freestyle battles.
Right.
Was he going to do that rapidy rap?
Right.
Yeah.
He composed, as you stated, Aaron, an album that was consistent. You're going to hear that word consistent a lot, listeners, because the album is very, very consistent.
Absolutely.
From track 1, I believe it was 18, 17
Yeah.
tracks,
Yeah.
all the way
15.
through.
Yeah.
All the way through.
And that, like I said, that's one of the main things that really surprised me is he has great songs on here. I mean, the playability for a lot of these. I mean, because if it's just super bar heavy, then I mean, unless you into that, which I mean we all are because that's important. But the fact that he can hit a large range of people listening because the actual hook will catch you. That'll bring you in.
Yeah, I think the other thing is, I mean, he did give us the rapidy rap, right?
For sure.
Amen, like the intro track.
Oh, yeah.
was
Yeah,
like
that was
triple digit bars.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this man gave us like 100 bars of fire, just
Straight up.
just playing on different things. I mean, I love the flip with the conferences, the college conferences, and the SEC,
with
the Pac-10.
the Pac-10. Yeah, that was
and
that
that's
was
how he tied it into his varsity sports experience. So coming out the gate, I'm like, okay, this is the Cyhi I know we're gonna get, but I was concerned about what the rest of the album would sound like. And when we went into No Dope on Sundays, immediately he got into the theme of the album.
He found a way to rhyme the word thingamajig. Like, come on, bruh.
Very hard to do. Very hard
Like
to
that
do.
was, I was like, all right, Cyhi is in his
Right.
bag.
Right,
Like,
you
that
get
was fresh.
brownie points for that.
sure.
And anytime you rap anything with purple,
Yeah.
you can rap it with purple, like,
Purple and thingamajig.
right. You get
that was fresh.
some
He
some
did his
points
thing,
from
man. I thought it was dope.
Yep. As far as actual like features, what did you guys think? So we had just for the listeners, we had 2 Chainz. Pusha T came through
Push.
with the feature
Definitely one of my
that I
favorite
feel like was
artists.
very fitting. Where he just pretty much spoke about what he knows, which is the drug game and the influence it had on him, on his family.
Nobody talk that talk like Push when it comes to the drugs.
Yeah.
Nobody.
This is the album. Like while we speaking about features, I wish Malice would have.
Yeah.
Like I felt like Malice could have made
never
the same.
happen,
No,
Yeah,
but
Malice-
it would have worked in
Malice
terms of
would've-
the concept.
Oh,
In terms of the
of
concept, it would have worked.
It would've had to be a gospel.
Okay.
It would've had
In
to be
terms
a
of the
No, he
concept,
went
Gospel
straight
rap
gospel. For
Yeah.
you all that didn't know, Malice is now full-fledged gospel rapper.
right.
And this would have worked for him.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have. His verse on there would have still been dope, but I don't think he would have wanted to do it unless everybody was on the same page of him. Which is
Exactly.
He don't want to mix. He's not mixing any of this in.
No.
It's gonna be one message.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the reason why you wouldn't get a Malice
Yeah,
on this.
it would
But
have
it
to-
would have been fresh.
Right,
It would have
right.
been dope to see.
Yeah. It would have had to be like a whole witnessing
Yeah.
track. Like that would have had to be.
I'm
it.
thinking of a track that
Everybody
he made.
would've had to come to
I'm still
Jesus
going
on
back
that
to
joint.
Fear.
I think that. I think that we could do like.
I'm not Fear Free. I'm
That's
sorry.
what I was gonna
Free.
say.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Free he would fit into. Other tracks I think that he would fit into. The one where he's quoting Peter.
That's not a man.
God bless your heart.
God bless your heart.
Yeah.
God bless your heart.
Yeah, he could have fit in there, but obviously I think Cyhi would have to rework those verses, but
Of course.
yeah, I felt like he would have fit in. Just throwing that out there. Other features, it was a surprise feature that I saw. Like when I saw the track list, Jagged Edge.
That was, and they killed it.
Jagged Edge.
They killed it.
That's what Jagged Edge does. That you know, back in the day, it was a 112 Jagged Edge thing. You was either or. Yeah. Jagged Edge was for, you know, I'm about to go on the block. Yeah. That's your block R&B.
Yeah.
112 was your
swooning
Magic Room.
Right. Yeah. They
you know, R&B. They fit perfectly. They was in the bag too.
It was. They definitely did their thing. Estelle was nice.
Estelle
on the Murder joint.
Yeah.
I'm not usually big on a feature-heavy album. If you think about it, this was pretty heavy on the feature. It was 8 or 9 tracks it was featured on. It's a 15-track album, but every feature fit. Nobody really like overpowered the album. Yeah, no, not at all. They complimented what Cyhi did. I think every feature. It was no bad features on there.
Yeah.
2 Chainz joint was dope. Yeah, the joint with 2 Chainz, Trick Me. I thought that one was fresh. They definitely sounded good on that one together.
Yeah, I think they those two always have like a natural chemistry. Like I feel like they're both extremely clever. And I feel like Cyhi hits like this special place when he's rapping with him. It kind of has like that. It's not the same as like a Jadakiss and Styles, but they can kind of in and out or go.
Ain't no Jadakiss.
Definitely not. I'm just saying. I'm talking about the vibe.
Yeah, I got
it. The chemistry.
It's an Atlanta thing.
Yeah.
They definitely
no, that's a totally different day right there. I'm just saying, like, just far chemistry wise, like how they can play off of each other in verses. Yeah, in and out if necessary. So one thing that I wanted to make sure that we do is just play a portion of a song, just so the listeners can hear just what we're talking about. Yeah. I think that this is a good example of him, where the production is dope, but we can also hear him, talking through some of the things that were important within this album, and really speaking to his target audience. So we're gonna play a clip from the end of one of the verses on No Dope on Sundays.
Yeah, the track is called No Dope on Sundays.
Yeah,
it's the second track on the album.
Yep, and if you go listen to this track, it is featuring Pusha T. Pusha T's gonna rap at the end with no drums, so we're not gonna play that portion, but I will suggest that you go get it in.
Baseball field, it's safe to say it's all real, but all my scars is all healed. Cause I've been stabbed in the back more times than Paul Pills. But enough about my past, it's time to save our kids. So our sons will never have to live the way we all did. If you trapping, nigga, trap to send your daughter off to college. If you trapping, nigga, trap to get your mother out the projects. If you trapping, nigga, trap to get your people out the streets. Oh, you trapping just to be trapping. Oh, you trapping for the freaks. But if you a real trap, nigga, do me one favor and tell all my partners in Decatur. No double saying.
Man, I feel like that pretty much sums up the album.
Yeah.
Like in a nutshell of the whole message that I mean later on in the album that he goes into and kind of breaks down and gets more intricate with. But just straight up, just talking to his target audience and letting them know, like, this is what it is, this is what I think. And even just setting a rule or a guideline, like, no dope on Sundays.
Yeah, that's a, man, listen here. For you to have a rule like that, hey, whenever somebody say listen here, you know they finna say something. Right. You know they finna drop some jewels on you. Usually it's that old cat at the barbershop. Listen here. Yeah, I just feel like, the way that he jumped this whole album off with the intro and then No Dope on Sundays, you knew that you was about to be listening to something special.
Right.
Or at least that's how I felt.
Right.
I felt like this was going to be something fresh. I felt like it was going to be something new that we definitely needed as a culture. Not that we didn't get it in spots and pockets throughout the rest of the year. Kendrick's album was just okay to me. I get a lot of flack for that, but whatever. I thought
both.
Yeah, and I think Jay's album was dope.
Get some flack for that.
Man, listen. Jay's album was dope, but this is what I was waiting for. I was waiting for an album to give me this sort of feeling Cyhi delivered right at the end of the year. Album of the year right here. This was Cyhi.
Okay. What as far as like the interludes and the skits and things, so how he incorporated some phone conversations, and like some OGs in to just kind of echo the message. What did you guys think of that?
It was a dope bridge.
Yeah,
it was a dope bridge.
it just brought out the authenticity of everything that he had been saying and rapping about the whole time. It just made everything flow. It painted a picture for you. It really let you see exactly what he was looking for and what he was trying to deliver. It just made it all more real for you, and it was very relatable.
Yeah. I think another big thing for me ultimately was understanding like the relationship between him and Jagged Edge.
Yeah.
So with Jagged Edge, he talked through. I don't know if you guys remember when Jagged Edge had that whole little scandal with the whole. They got caught with the weed and the drugs.
Right.
In the house
Yeah.
and stuff. Cyhi said he took the rap. Him and one of his guys took the rap for that.
Yeah.
And ultimately he was fighting that. They was standing by him. So I thought that was an interesting story. And as he brought them or weaved them back into this album, for him, I'm sure this brought back some memories of that time frame.
For all of them.
Yeah.
For Cyhi and for the cats.
Yeah. So I just thought that was dope.
Yeah.
What about misses? What do you think was a miss on this album, if anything?
I don't think I have a miss.
I don't have a miss. I already know where you're going with this.
Where am I going?
The Kanye
Where
track.
am I going?
The Kanye track. You
That's
going
why
with the Kanye track?
How quickly I said it. I don't have a miss.
No. B, you always do this.
I always do what?
Go speak your piece on it, man, because I know I understand.
I
why
just
you
want
think
to toss it up. This is if we talk about any album, I'm going to ask you. If we talk about Reasonable Doubt, I'll be like, what was a miss on Reasonable Doubt?
And just like Reasonable Doubt, this has no miss.
This has,
in my opinion,
I feel like
it's
that
strong
side is a
throughout.
miss. If I talk about the theme of this album,
So
that
if
side
we go there, I agree totally that
Mm-hmm.
based upon what every other track was about, this one is like left field, but it's dope. That's why I still don't call it a miss because it's dope.
He talking about he's from that side. That's the side that he's from. He's giving you his story from that side. Now, does it sound like the rest of the album?
No. Nope.
It sounds a lot more, 2010 Kanye-ish.
But
And he fell into that kind of mold with that track. It doesn't sound like the rest of the album.
But I feel like he's talking to. So when we say that side, I feel like he's talking to the haters and things of that nature. Like y'all stay on that side.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where Kanye took it. And
Because just
Cyhi
take
took
it.
there as
Kanye
well.
can't talk about what Cyhi's
No.
talking about.
And he wouldn't even try.
So that's where I think the disconnect for some, maybe for you, Brandon, I won't speak for you, but that disconnect may be because Kanye's doing Kanye on this album. Old Kanye.
Now, I think what I would have liked to see in place of this, if you need a big time feature, like why not bring Common and John Legend, and
About in Cudi for that.
yeah, and I know Com is gonna go conscious and talk
Yeah.
what the impact was to the South Side of Chicago,
True.
and cracking what he saw, or what dope and what he saw. Like I think that would have fit a lot better for me, and that would be the only miss. Now I am gonna say this. This is a very minor thing, like because the album is so dope.
So more of a glitch than a hiccup.
Yeah, it's a small.
Okay.
Yeah, just a very small miss. Like it rolled around the rim and came out.
Okay. All right.
Totally disagree. That side was dope. I liked it before. All right, so look, because we had this conversation before the album came out. This is the first track that dropped off the album that I heard. Matter of fact, I believe you tagged it to me.
Yeah.
And I listened to it and I was like, I thought it was fresh. I understand why you saying it's a miss. We gonna agree to disagree.
Okay. I'm with that at this point. So let's just give our final ratings individually.
So what's the rating system?
So with the rating system, our rating system, because we are from Chicago, is going to be based around mild sauce. So
All about the sauce, baby.
right. So if your album is trash, we don't want no extra mild sauce.
You
with
get
with
no
that,
sauce
with
for
that.
a whack
Right.
album. No
Right.
sauce.
And it can go all the way
No
up
sauce.
to
No sauce.
We can go all the way up to putting 5 extra mild sauces in a bag. Right.
That's right.
If it's 5.
Okay.
Okay.
So 0
I'll start
mild
off with
sauce
Steph.
to 5 mild sauces.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. So if I'm asking you, Steph, you put your order in 6 fry hard.
Man, the way my weight set up, that's a lot of mild
That's a
sauces.
lot of
man.
mild.
That's a lot of
Is it
mild
worth it?
sauces. But I'm gonna give him 4.5 mild sauces.
4.5 miles.
4.5 mild sauces.
Ugh. Hey.
You already know it's the album of the year. 5
It's-
mild sauce for Cyhi.
We're not going to talk this album of the year talk because we'll be here for 3 hours.
5 mile. 5.
I'm
Okay,
gonna give
5.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Okay.
4.5 mild sauces.
Y'all bogus. You ever
No,
seen,
that's dope.
You ever seen an empty or half empty container of mild sauce and you just get pissed off?
Yeah,
Like,
I
yo,
have.
you could have
Nah,
filled this up.
I don't.
Y'all
I don't.
petty. 5.
I don't, because I already used 4 of them.
Moving
They got a half left.
Moving
They
on.
got a half left.
5
Moving
mild
on.
sauce.
All right, so let's just jump into Derrick Rose really quickly. Count me in. All right, so we're gonna jump into Derrick Rose now.
Shout out to Derrick Rose. Man, that nigga nice.
So
Slow. So what was it? Slow singing the flower bringing. Should we play that for Rose?
No.
Man?
No.
that's how you do the hometown shit. man.
Steph, don't start no mess in here, bro. Don't
Let me
start
let me
that.
jump in this before we get irritated with
All
you,
right.
bro.
Man.
But,
Jump it off.
all right. So Rose has been contemplating retirement. So it was shared from ESPN that he is contemplating retirement at this point due to an injury-plagued career and just ultimately trying to come back from all of these injuries. Now, we know that Derrick Rose has been in a very fragile mental space for some time now, probably starting in 2012. So what I want to do is just kind of talk through some of the injury history,
Okay.
Yeah, it's extended.
just so that we can talk through it. So just so that everyone can have an understanding of it. So May of 2012 is when he tore his ACL. He missed 99 games if you include the playoffs from that point forward, which is a substantial amount. So that's a season and some
Season
additional
and
games.
some change. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
November 2013 is when he tore the meniscus. He missed 76 games after that, which is on a torn meniscus. So that's almost a full season.
Yep.
Depending on where you tear it at,
Yeah,
that's normal,
correct.
right? If you tear it on the outsides, they can usually get them back in 4 to
Patch you
6,
up. Yeah.
right?
Russell
Then it's
Westbrook
season.
missed,
Yeah,
what, 2 games?
That's what it felt like.
we're not talking about RoboCop. February 2015, he tore his meniscus again.
Tore it again.
Same one.
Yes. So at this point, within his career, he's missed 256 games.
Yeah.
So we
That's
think
heavy.
about that. That's equivalent of 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Of time that he's missed in his career. Which, how long has Rose been in the league? Since 08?
08.
08.
9 seasons. He's missed a third. He's missed a third of his career with injuries.
Yeah.
So I can understand the mental space that he's in right now. Kobe has talked about it in the past. Just trying to fight back from injury is such a tough thing, and you have to go to a special
Physically
place,
and mentally. Yeah.
right? And so when I think about Derrick Rose, I think about Kobe, because they were both two people at the highest point in the league, have both won MVPs and have had major injuries after that.
Right.
Now, the big thing I will say is Kobe's mental toughness
That's
is
exactly
a whole
what
different
I
thing.
was gonna go
If
to.
you don't have mental toughness like that, this is what we see, right?
You gotta want it. Yeah.
But
you
I
gotta want to get back
want
to
to
that
compare
place.
that, and I take everything you say into account. Made perfect sense, B. But Kobe is of a different mindset, where he took the injury as
I'm not gonna let this
is
do
another
It's a
stepping stone,
challenge.
another challenge for
Right.
me. Rose just don't want to do it. Not saying he doesn't want to do it.
Do you think it was the
But-
first time, or do you think it's now? Because this you have to think this sprained ankle or whatever is nagging him for another few weeks, and I just had an injury in February.
But I think what plagues Rose in terms of perception is when he made the comment about not being able to walk on graduation.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
My pops played ball, and his legs are like a capital X. He made it to graduation.
I feel you.
It's just one of those things. And you try to love him. I love him to death as a ball player. Great potential was mass.
Yeah.
But it's just like Brandon mentioned, that mind state. Everybody doesn't have that Kobe mentality, that Jordan, I broke my ankle, I'm coming back early mentality.
Right.
Yeah. It's. I'm always gonna be in this man's corner just because I'm a huge Derrick Rose fan. I always have been. I actually got a quick Derrick Rose story. I I feel like I ain't got the man phone number in my phone. I can't call him up and be like, yo, what up? Let me get a ticket. But it's it came to a point where we have had a couple of encounters. So some people know, some people don't. My son actually passed away a few years ago from cancer.
Yeah.
When my son was in the hospital, you know, having chemo, radiation, and all of that, he was a big Derrick Rose fan. So he was like, okay, well, Dad, I want to see Derrick Rose. So through a mutual friend, we made it happen. This isn't, you know, this wasn't through help of the hospital or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
This man, he came up there and spent time with me and my family. It was no cameras, no TV. It wasn't in the newspaper, none of that. This is after his very first injury. He's taken time out of his rehab to come visit with my son. That meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Then when my son, a few months later, my son actually passed away. He sent, he sent a bouquet of flowers to the funeral and stuff like that. He, he invited my other children to his son's birthday party and stuff like that. So I'm always gonna root for this dude because I know Derrick Rose as a person.
Right.
The things that he took out. He took time out of his rehab. That's his livelihood right there.
Yeah, you're correct.
And that's the reason why this means a lot to me. I'm always gonna be in this man's corner because of the love that he showed me. He didn't have to do none of that.
Right.
So to hear that he's contemplating retirement, I just want him to do whatever he's comfortable with. If that's the way it goes, then so be it. I love the run that he had. I love what he gave to the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
And I hope he keeps it. Gets a chance to keep
Yeah,
playing.
and I feel like he gave us a spark that we hadn't had in a long time.
A very long time.
So if you remember the
Very long
Baby
time.
Bulls and all of
Yeah,
that,
man.
when we
Unfortunately,
drafted,
yeah.
when we got that number one pick, like I feel like it was such a big thing for us. And I'm gonna take it back to a little bit further. Growing up, playing ball, on the South Side, even myself playing ball on the South Side, I don't think anyone has ever taught me how to land or how to take care of my body.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got a little bit older that I started understanding what that looked like, and the importance of that.
Yeah.
I don't think that was something that Derrick Rose has ever learned. Everyone just knew that he was explosive. I can remember going and watching Derrick Rose play when he was in high school. I can remember the windmills and the reverses.
Right, the one where he took off. He was at the UC playing for Simeon. He took off, and the way he landed on his leg, it looked like he almost broke his leg.
Yeah,
but he tried it back down the court. The dunk was ferocious.
Right,
and that's the way he's always played.
Yeah,
he's played and embodied that gritty Chicago style of play, and unfortunately, it took a toll on his body.
But whenever I watch like him just play for the Cavs or whoever, a lot of times I'm like wincing and things as he's jumping and doing things because of the way in which he does it. It's so reckless.
Yeah.
And from someone who has several ankle injuries himself, and it really messed me up as I went into college, like not knowing how to do those things. I taught myself eventually how to play a different style of basketball. And we saw Derrick Rose try to do that, but he still doesn't understand what it looks like to land properly, or at what point in time to take off, or this isn't a situation that I want to go into, or I shouldn't go dive through the lane right now.
And
this is a floater.
When he tried to change his game away from that reckless abandon that he was used to playing with, it made him uncomfortable.
Yeah, it didn't last long
He
at all.
didn't shoot as efficiently. He didn't. He wasn't able to make the defense commit as much as he was. So then he reverted back to, I just got to go out there and play. And it would be certain games and points where it would be like, okay, he's looking fresh. He looks like he's over it. That mental headspace as to where it's like, okay, I might get hurt. And you would see flashes of him being what we know he could be.
And that's the thing that's hard to kind of digest. Even when he came back from every injury, he still was a consistent factor on the court.
Always.
Still, he wasn't that same MVP year Derrick Rose, but he still was over 15 points.
Yeah.
Still getting about 6-7 assists.
Yeah.
He still was
year,
productive.
I think he averaged 20.
That's 18-7.
Yeah,
That's 20.
18. Yeah,
That's 20.
19.
Yeah. So that's my thing, man. Is even with the injuries, when he was on the court, he was a factor. And especially when he was playing against a big-time point guard. When he was going up against John Wall or Kyrie Irving or Steph Curry, it didn't matter. It's time to play.
Right.
He said, because I'm not going to let you show me up. I'm an MVP for a reason.
Right.
So that's something that I want to continue to see in the league. I hope he finds a way to say, you know what, I'm going to bounce back from this one too. But ultimately, it's his decision, and you know, we'll see what happens.
And if your head's not there, you don't want to go out there and mess something else. You can't do it.
And then you can't give it. You can't give it back to the team how you want to. If you're not in a mental space as to where you can say, okay, I need to go out here and sacrifice for my team and do these things for the team, then I understand why you're not wanting to. A lot of people think that this is selfish, him taking this time away from the game. I think it's smart.
Yeah.
I think it's smart to do this.
And I really think, like, that this is a point in time that he should really research, like, you know, certain specialists or things that are going to be able to teach him how to land and things, because all the issues that he's had that are major with his lower extremities, it's not like my shoulder or, you know, elbow or some of the things that some of the other players are dealing with. Like, all of his things are knees, ankles, and it's ultimately like your feet and the way you're landing, the way that I really think those Adidas that he's been wearing is an issue until he got boosted. But no shade, no shade.
How you say that and then say no shade?
The sprint phone wasn't enough until boost.
No shade, November. No shade.
Blame it on the sprint frame from Adidas.
Right. When they tried to get the lightest shoe possible, like the shot, like within that shoe. I remember when I played in it with the ankle injuries and stuff that I had. Like, I was like, nah, bro, this ain't gonna work for me. And I had to give some cushioning. But I really think if he did that the rest of this year and came back next year and took another minimum deal somewhere, I really think somewhere like the Spurs or someone that would monitor his minutes well would be a good fit.
I don't think it's in him to. That's his style of play, and I don't think it's no way.
Yeah, and I don't want to change his style of play. Just want to change how
he's
landing and how he's taking off and those things, and having a better understanding of that, because I think that's where a lot of the injuries are happening.
I think Cleveland did a good job with managing his minutes. If you look at the way he played minutes for Tyronn Lue, I like the way Tyronn Lue managed the minutes, especially with the fact that, I mean, they didn't have. I would have loved to see how he played with Isaiah Thomas. Hopefully, we still get to see that this year.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like we counting them out already.
Yeah.
But they. Man, it's just a lot up in the air. I think they managed his minutes pretty well. But if he does say, hey, I want to take some time away, then I totally agree with you.
Right.
Do some research. Go over there to wherever the hell Kobe went, France or Switzerland, wherever he went. Yeah. Go get you one of them Kobe shots, dog.
The
Come on
platelets.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, ultimately it's his decision. He knows what's best for him. Do we want to see him leave? No, but us as Chicagoans, it's always going to be a, here you go again.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here we go again.
I ain't even gonna do that. I'm just gonna say this. So I think we should check out on that. Derrick Rose, thank you for what you did for this city.
Oh, so you closing them out now?
I don't. I didn't even finish. Thank you what you did for this city.
Yeah.
If this is it, then it was enough for me.
Yeah,
if there's more, I'm still watching.
If you don't give me another game, you did more than enough on various levels.
Skills competition. The reverse dunk he pulled up.
Man.
It's been real, Derrick.
He changed the whole way rookie contracts is scheduled, is constructed. They got a whole rule made after this, man. Yeah. So, man, shout out to Derrick Rose. I hope he does whatever is best for him and his family. Ultimately, it's his decision. I just want to see that man happy.
Yeah, me too. And I think he's made enough money. I know he's gonna miss out on
he got the bag.
He got to
give
70.
What he got to give Adidas back? 80?
70, I think.
Something like that.
70, but I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, he got more than enough.
Yeah, I mean, mentally, hey, look, if you willing to walk away from 70, that's how you know it's all about that mental space.
Yep.
If he walking away from 70, Dave Chappelle walked away from 50, it lets you know the pressure is real.
Yeah,
and all of the lights is on you.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that we would see him give back in a different way going forward.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in Chicago. So,
I mean,
I think he's going to be an asset going forward, whether he's still playing or he's influencing the youth in another way.
I totally agree with that. For sure.
Much luck, D.
Yeah. All right, so let's discuss Lybia. So very serious topic.
Yeah.
So just to kind of to shed some light on what's going on. CNN ultimately put out a short documentary on a slave trade that they witnessed when they took a crew to Lybia. So they witnessed 12 men being auctioned off for as little as $400.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so ultimately, that they found out from that auction that there's actually 9 other auctions set up in Lybia.
In Lybia, yeah.
Doing the exact same thing. So it was at night. Ultimately, what it has been is refugees from Africa trying to get to Europe.
Yep.
Yeah.
So paying to try to get to a space where they can support their family.
Fleeing destruction too.
Yeah. Start a new life. And really try to give themselves a shot at life and a shot at opportunity. In some cases, trying to avoid starvation and poor living conditions. But as we've seen, there are some Libyans that are ultimately taking advantage of that.
For sure. Not just Libyans. It's quite a few countries that are working together to take advantage of these people. This goes down a very deep rabbit hole, and it's scary. That it's been going on for quite some time.
Yeah, and I think the thing that concerns me the most, just doing some additional research off of that, like the Washington Post said that there's 40 million modern slaves.
Yep.
Another like crazy stat from that was that 71% of those are women.
Yes.
So when I read that, I just immediately I was taken aback. Like, just understanding like what slavery has done to the United States, right? As African Americans here, many of our ancestors were enslaved, and that's several generations back for all of us. But even now, we're still suffering from what happened. And when you're taking those men, women, and those people out of those families, like it's really causing them to start over or totally losing a loved one altogether.
And it's so easy to be an American and be so detached from the things that go on in other third world countries, just because it's not in your face every day. So the fact that CNN is finally shedding some light on it and other, media outlets as well, is good that it's finally getting some traction, but it needs to be even more. This needs to be something that's highlighted even more than it already is. Like when we have our tragedies here at home, like the shooting that happened in Orlando or the one in Vegas, Facebook and all of these other media outlets, they start having filters and raising money and all of that. Where is all of that for this Libyan slave trade that's been going on for years?
Yeah.
We need that same type of awareness being brought to this injustice that these people is facing. They just want a better life. The same things that we expect out of ourselves, to just be able to have a fair shot and make a better way for each other. That's all that they're trying to do.
Right.
And they are being taken advantage of.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like and when you think about, like, a lot of them are selling everything that they have or just putting everything on the line to try to get to a better life. And to see smugglers and people taking advantage of that and them being enslaved. In one story, I think I read that the one guy was sold several times.
Right.
So he worked out of his debt.
In a span of like 2 days, he was sold like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. He worked out of his debt, and then they acted as if they were going to smuggle him again, and then
they killed him.
Yep. Then he was sent back into slavery.
Yeah.
So just knowing that this is going on has just been, extremely concerning. Like, I know that United Nations has launched an investigation into it, but I know that
why does it take, now for you've known about it? The United Nations put out a report. They said 700 to 1 million Libyans have went to Europe.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you stated, for a better way of living.
Yeah.
So they have this information. They know what's going on. This is something to tweet about.
Yeah.
We haven't heard a tweet about this yet.
At all.
This is something we hear about Matt Lauer, being fired.
Right.
But not about these brothers and sisters that's losing organs.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you have a lot to say, but how do you voice that? Because it's appalling. It's crazy.
It really is. And I advise all of our listeners to, I'm not telling you to engulf yourself in this story, but definitely read up on it, check it out, look at some of the things that's happening in this world around you. Find a way to be aware, and just more than anything, be thankful that
absolutely
the situation that they're in isn't something that's, you know, affecting you in the same way. Some of the things that's going on in these stories is just horrendous, man. Is a lot of these women and men are being sold into prostitution. A lot of these guys is being forced into homosexual prostitution to avoid for their children becoming slaves. I read a story on AlJazeera.com about that, and is appalling, man. It really just makes you sick to your stomach. Some of the things that you're hearing it's really ugly story, but I think more awareness needs to be brought to it.
I think even another thing that jumped out to me was just the use of Facebook and how they're utilizing that to extort the families back home, you know, that are hoping that this guy or this woman gets to Europe and is able to provide, but now their life is in danger, and if you don't send this amount of money or those things, you know, they're utilizing social networking to do this.
Some ugly people in this world.
And it's not a quick fix by any means.
Not at all.
But the tools that we have, drones, all this equipment we have, it's something. I'm not saying to go blow them up or anything like that, but it's something you can do to stop it. You may not be able to stop it, you know, 100%, but it's something you can do to kind of cartel it back a little bit. You know, to eliminate. It's a worldwide known thing that's happening.
Exactly. What's the point of the United Nations? The last time I checked, it was just so that we can protect each other. These people need protection. They need help. They've been asking for help for years. Again, I'm gonna go back to the article that I read. They've asked the United Nations just for a freezer, just to put these decomposed bodies. They said they have one freezer. It's already malfunctioning and can fit maybe like 6 to 7 bodies in there.
That's the same one I read.
And they said right now they have dozens of bodies in the same freezer, and it's malfunctioning. The stench is bad. They said they get 3 to 5 bodies per day just dropped off right in front of the morgue, and they've been asking for a freezer for going on 24 months. And it's like, how can you continue to let people live like this and see all of these things that's going on?
Right. Yeah. So I definitely know that I'm sure listeners are wondering what they can do. So some things that I just looked up. There are some organizations that are working to end worldwide slavery. Free the Slaves is one of the organizations, as well as End Slavery Now. So those are some good organizations that you can research that will let you know some things that you can do to help out. Also, just donating to any of the organizations, the humanitarian organizations and development organizations like World Food Program, Save the Children, Oxfam. Those places are ultimately working to fix some of the things in the world that are causing people to try to flee and go other places, and causing situations that ultimately lead to slavery. So just wanted to share that and give you a point to be able to go and dig and see what you can do to help out as an individual here in America.
Yeah, we just got to do better.
Yeah.
As a people, not black people, white, you know, it doesn't even matter. As a human race, we just got to do better.
Yeah.
And if you got a voice, find your way to use it. I mean, money helps, obviously, but everybody don't have money. If you can donate your time, if you can just bring awareness. Sometimes all it takes is a tweet or sharing a link and stuff like that, you know, just to bring more awareness to it. The more that you know, the more that people know, the more fuss that you bring about, the more opportunity you have to make a change. So if that's what you can do, if that's what you can spare to, you know, voice your opinion, then do that. At the very least, do that. It takes 2 seconds to share a link. So
before we close it up, question I got for you two.
Yeah.
What do you think, now that the outcry and the pictures are now becoming public. You can find them everywhere. Instagram, you can find them everywhere.
Yeah.
What do you think happens now? Meaning either from our country, Europe, who already knew about it but have done nothing about it. So what do you think happens now?
I think the microscope is on now, so I think like the resources, we'll see them utilized a lot better at this point, and definitely some people who step up or some countries that step up and try to put a stand to it. I think it takes someone shining light on it to make that happen. Now, what I fear is that I think we went through it with Flint. Flint still doesn't have clean water. I know I said that. Yeah. But now it's outside the scope of everyone where they can see it every day.
Right.
But that issue is still, I feel like it might bubble back up again.
Yeah.
Especially when we look at, like, I believe it's 85% of countries have modern slaves. In Africa, it's the highest rate per 1,000 people. Like, I think it bubbles back up. I just think it may not be in Libya. I think it's going to be somewhere else.
500 years later, they still going back to Africa, man.
And here's the thing, is going back to the same article that I read, the reason why it's so prevalent in Libya is because, like you brought up, Libya is the hub to Europe, because that's the quickest way to get there by sea. There's no airports and airstrips out there. They're going by sea. That's the quickest and most efficient way. You can get hundreds of them on a boat. So that's the reason that Libya is so intricate for this slave trade. Even if the UN has a huge presence in Libya going forward, like you said, they can shut Libya down, or at least parts of it, but then it bubbles back up in other places, because taking a look, it's in Ghana, it's in Niger, it's in Cameroon, it's in Zambia, it's in Senegal.
So
all of these,
the west coast of Africa,
pretty much.
Yeah.
All of these different countries are defecting to Libya just to get to Europe. But if you shut that Libyan hub down, they're still getting their refugees. They're still getting so many bodies from the slave trade from these other countries. Right. It's going to have to be on a much larger scale than focusing on just Libya.
Yeah.
I would like to see a report of how much income is being driven through that.
In this same report,
I guarantee you. You got that?
Yeah. It's so it's such a long it's such a long article, but I'll definitely put it up in the podcast in the comments or something like that. But this guy, what's really interesting about this is this is from one of the slave traders is who they're speaking with. And he says that he gets anywhere from about $700 to $1,100 US per person, but they do sell for as low as about $400. They said since Muammar Gaddafi came out of the regime, that he said his presence and these smuggling has like quadrupled. His business has quadrupled. He said it's hard for him to keep account of how much money he's getting.
Yeah, because there's no real law there, right? There's no one true.
Yeah, it's nothing there.
There's no one.
It's
he's been dead for what, 2 years now?
Right.
Somewhere around there?
So it was happening before. It's just now even more prevalent since he died. So if you think about this, is if his income has quadrupled in the last 2 years, imagine how many slaves that they really selling off.
Right.
And he says that it's not enough for him to just go in and get a handful, unless because he talks about it in shipments. That's how crazy this is.
And for him to speak on it, it's not an end in sight.
Right. That's what.
If
If he's okay with speaking on it, that's how bold these guys are. But they talk about the slave trade in shipments, that if it's just 5 to 10, 15 people, he's not even touching it, because that's not enough money. He talking about, I need a couple hundred. If I can get a couple hundred slaves, then it's okay. And he's talking about speaking with commanders in Niger and Zambia and in Senegal who okay this, and then they send these slaves over to Libya. It's like I said, this goes really deep, and they just need to shed more light on it, man. But it's scary that this could happen.
Yeah,
it's very scary.
And it can happen to any. We may want to take a trip to Africa. It can happen to anyone.
Right.
You never know.
That's true.
It's smuggling.
That's true. That's a good point.
It's just be careful, people. You guys just got to be careful. I know it's easier said than done, but you just got to be careful.
That's a good point, though. I mean, because shoot, American terrorists could come. American tourists can come up missing no matter where you go. But if
that's funny you brought that up. I went to Jamaica for work, and when I was there, they were asking, "So what did you go see? What did you look at?" I'm like, "Yo, we were like in the slums of Jamaica, but to be honest, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
We were in a man-made resort that was fenced off. When we went out that fence, it was whatever you thought Jamaica looked like outside of the beaches is what it was. The people would come to work and they will state that somebody down the street from me was killed. They were raped, then killed.
Wow.
So as Americans, they already think we're naive, goody-goody. It was no way I was about to travel there by myself.
I feel you.
And wander around, Montego Bay. Sounds lovely.
Yeah.
But is it really?
Right.
So
Put it into perspective.
A lot of people don't think like that, man. These trips are cheap now. They want you to get there, get the American currency, but you just got to be careful.
Right, man.
You got to be careful.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah,
Anybody got
definitely.
anything else?
Like I said, I'm definitely gonna share the link just so people could read the article. It was definitely an interesting read. It's kind of long, but take from it what you will. Share it yourself if you want to. But like we said, man, just bring awareness to the whole situation.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree. And we're just gonna monitor this very closely.
Yeah.
I'm sure that we'll get a report from United Nations, and we'll be around to share that.
As more details unfold, we'll definitely follow back up on this because it's not something that's going to go away no time soon.
Right.
All right, well, we thank everybody for listening. We thank everybody for listening. We sitting there watching the Lakers Golden State game at the same time, so excuse the silence. But if you have any comments, leave them in the comments.
Steph need a nickname.
Steph don't need a nickname.
Steph needs a nickname. Steph is just not good enough. We got A-Dub, we got Red, we got B, we got
My mama named me Steph, so y'all call me
Mama named me Clay.
So y'all call us. And be sure to follow us on our social media outlets. We have on YouTube, Xtra, Mild Sauce Podcast with X, not an EX. Extra Mild Sauce Podcast at gmail.com. And we also have on Twitter, which is Extra Mild Sauce. Extra Mild Podcast. There's a lot of extra miles floating around out there. You'll find something. SoundCloud. We're also on SoundCloud. We're at Extra Mild Sauce Podcast on SoundCloud. Also look out for iTunes coming soon.
We're going to tag everything in the description so it's a little easier. But definitely show love, man. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We're going to keep it coming too, man. We just always going to make sure we got something fresh, something new for you. So,
any topics or things that you guys want to see us discuss, engage in dialogue about, please comment and leave that within the description or in the comment section so that we can look at those things and try to bring those to the show. And you can send an email, stuff stated to Extra Mild Sauce Podcast if you're not comfortable with putting it in the comments.
I guess a wrap.
All right, gotta go.
Putting the bow on episode number 2.
All right, thanks everybody for listening.
Love.